So Party Draw is a human-computer interactive installation that's focused on getting young children engaged with computers. So at the time I was exploring human-computer interaction and I wanted to develop my coding skills, so I decided to create a project that would explore this concept. I wanted to create an installation that gave the user the choice of creating artwork with or without the computer, so it's their choice to engage with the computer. So therefore I made the drawing application first, and then I used a graphical coding software to manipulate the images into a video output. So once I'd created a prototype version, I then decided to redesign the project for a specific age range, and I looked at the Development Matters milestones for early years development, and the milestones that stood out to me were: manipulates materials to achieve a planned effect, constructs with a purpose in mind using a variety of resources, chooses particular colours to use for a purpose, and completes a single program on a computer. So these milestones were for a 3 to 5 year old, and they clearly show that these children are creating but with an end purpose in mind. So I thought it would be really interesting to see whether they actually accepted the computer having the input on their artwork, because it would clearly change the end result. To make the installation more user-friendly for such a young age range, I implemented the Numicron number colour system, which was brought to my attention by teacher Miss Beth Rhodes, who I consulted with. And so what I did is I made the keys the same colours that they would be painting with, so it was easy for the children to understand. So the way this project works is the first part is the drawing application. So this is the main part where the child can choose whether to create a relationship with the computer or not. So the numbers 1 to 8 on the keyboard are predefined colours by myself, which are with the Numicron colour system, and they can draw circles or squares depending on which mouse button is clicked. So the number 9 button is where the child can choose to let the computer select a colour for them to paint with. This is where I'm really interested in if they will be pleased with the outcome of letting the computer choose, or if they would prefer to be in control. So afterwards, the drawings that are created by the child with or without the computer are then combined in the graphical coding software into a video output, and the effect combining the images changes depending on the volume of the sound playing. So my main artistic inspiration was from the works of Harold Cohen and how he used Aaron, which is an artificial intelligence program that he developed to create art with. His creative process is what inspired me to first start exploring human-computer interaction and how to create art using that. I was also inspired by Professor Craig Veer's enthusiasm for pseudo-random numbers, and using this function, this is how I allowed the computer to create decisions using these random numbers. So I say create decisions because in this project the computer isn't actually making intelligent decisions, it's simply executing a function that I've written. However, in a future development I would like to implement the use of AI into this project so that the computer could look at what's been drawn already and what colours are being used, and then if the child chooses to let the computer decide a colour, they can choose one appropriate on what's been created already. So the main technical challenge that I faced during this project was this was actually my first ever installation that I've coded myself. Before this I had very little basic knowledge of how to code, so I relied a lot on online forums and GitHub to sort of get myself through this. And then as well, using the graphical coding software Max, that was really challenging for me because through this project I really found that I do prefer the sort of linear line writing coding rather than graphical coding. So the next stage for this project, I really see it being implementing AI. That's the way I would like to take this, and that is what hopefully I'll be working on in the future.